Today we're going to make some 30-minute dinner rolls. It's a really quick recipe, obviously 30 minutes, and it's one that I like to make almost weekly just because I can come home from work and still make fresh bread. Goes great with roast, which will be our next video, and it's just a good comfort food, especially now when everything's crazy. If you have the ingredients, which finding yeast may be a challenge in these crazy times, but luckily I make these rolls often enough that I happen to have yeast. So we're going to go ahead and make the rolls. To start off, we microwave or heat up 1 cup of water plus 2 tablespoons. I usually put it in my measuring cup, throw it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, just so it's warm enough that it activates the yeast. Pour this into our mixer. Add in 1/4 cup of sugar. Two tablespoons of yeast. And 1/3 cup of oil. And I like to give this a quick stir with a bread hook. We'll let this mixture set for 15 minutes just to activate the yeast. It's been about 15 minutes. Our yeast have bloomed, and now we will add in our salt, our egg, and 2 cups of all-purpose or bread flour. So start with the egg. Half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. These don't have to be perfectly level because we are going to use all of this flour that I've measured out in this little silicone bowl. Again, I like to use the shield, especially since we're going to add in more flour. And this just sits right on the edge of the bowl. Keeps it from being quite as messy. It's already messy enough with the flour. Scrape the sides, and then we'll start putting in the remaining flour. The recipe says in 1/2 cup increments, I guess you'd say, but I'm gonna just take this little silicone bowl, since I can fold the sides smaller, and just kind of shake it in slowly. Now that's all integrated, the dough is pretty tacky, so we will scrape the bowl once again, and then flour my surface. Scrape out the dough. This recipe is such a good one. It was given to my mom by her friend Flora, so we affectionately refer to this recipe as Flora's rolls. Really, really good. And as you can see, they're pretty easy for bread. Quick, that's for sure. These rolls don't need any kneading, but it's easier to divide them by taking them out and kind of flouring them. So you could skip this step and just work with them in the bowl. It's whatever your preference is. This may just be easier for you to get them portioned. The recipe calls for 12, or it says it will make 12 dinner rolls. I'm going to actually divide that into 2 because we're going to make one and freeze one. You'll see 12 is pretty big. That's pretty big rolls. So this is a little more portion controlled as well. You can see it's a tacky dough. So add more flour as you need to, so you can work with it. If you do use a mat, be sure to be gentle if you're going to cut on it. So now that we have 24 rolls, we're going to put them into 2 pans. I've greased the pans, so I'm just going to shape my rolls so that they'll be rounded. And I'm going to put them in the pan, some space between them, because they will rise a little bit more. And you may need to reposition them, and that's okay too. So at this point, now that all the rolls are in the pans, I'm going to take one of the pans and put it in the proof setting in the oven for 10 minutes before baking, and then the other one I'm going to put some press and seal on it and put it in the freezer so I can pull it out, let it defrost and rise for a little bit. I'll actually have to check with my mom and see how long it needs to sit out to rise and defrost, because she's done it and I have not. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and put this one into the oven. And if you don't think you're going to cook the second batch, or if you're just doing this as a ahead of time thing, you can go ahead and actually write the date on the press and seal so that you know exactly when you prepared the dough so it doesn't stay in the freezer for too long. These things don't last that long in our house, so I'm sure these will be cooked next week. Okay, this is good to go. I would guess if you wanted to, you could keep them in the oven, in the freezer for about a month to 3 months. I would probably go with a month. You'll probably want to pull them out before then anyway. The rolls are done proofing, so now I'm going to move them into the oven. 10 minutes later, fresh bread right out of the oven. These are so tasty. I hope you enjoy them as much as we do.